Fuck, it worked. Here we go. Fire for Effect Live, 5 October 2022. Thanks for joining us. I imagine everybody's getting ready for Thanksgiving weekend. We're going to cover that tonight. There's a few things I do want to talk about tonight. Thanksgiving is one of them, and reasons to be thankful is one of them. We're going to get into we'll get into an update on with the Ukraine Russia war situation and a feel-good story that's coming out of that that's local and close to home. But first of all, let's bring in Mr. Bryce Hooper. What's going on, man?
How are you?
I'm good, buddy. Happy Wednesday. A little cooler.
Yeah.
Feels more like fall today.
Yeah, doesn't it though, hey? That wind came in and it's nice and gloomy, that's for sure.
I got to like legit go rake leaves now and concede that summer's dead.
Yeah, it's that time of year for sure. Your neighbor's going to dump his stuff.
Look at that, fucking 2 minutes late. No big deal. red fucking shit for you.
Red shit.
Jesus, haircut.
Yeah.
What is going on? Are you losing your hair or what? You look like he looks like a fucking Klingon. He looks like Worf. I didn't even wear a hat today. I was fucking around with my lighting and I moved my mic. Like I like my boom thing. Here's what you people don't normally see. Because I don't like my shit in frame, like that traditional podcast look, like how Bryce looks like right now with the mic right there.
Exactly.
But I wasn't getting good audio when I was looking at playback. So, and because we have over 5,000 listeners on audio media, who I want to thank you guys. I thought there was fucking 8. Apparently there's more than that. So I'm trying to improve the quality of our audio. So now I have my mic still out of frame. I'm not sponsored by Shure. This is just me down here. So I'm hoping it sounds better when I play it back. If not, well, we're going to find out. Anyway,
Absolutely.
let's get into the first thing we're going to get into is no one's watching this yet, which is great. So we can fuck up. Is this fucking shit show?
Yeah, isn't that a picture, hey?
So this is a picture of Bryce lying in a hospital bed. He's probably high as fuck, not from driving, with a neck brace on. So break this down, and then we'll weigh in on my opinion of fucking drivers in Edmonton and this province in general.
100%. So for those that aren't watching or captured the video, that was me laying in a hospital bed with a neck brace on. I was driving to the south side on Monday morning, and there was a road rage incident, which then led to a hard braking, me almost avoiding a semi-truck that changed lanes in front of me, and the road rager, who was already on my bumper, had nowhere to go other than underneath my truck. And he must have been doing 120 because I was braking at 100 in the fast lane on the Henday on the south side. We were like less than a kilometer away from the Y Road exit.
Holy fuck.
This guy smoked us. He came out of that exit probably doing 140, I'd say. Flew by a couple of people, weaved in and out of a couple other people, stopped and gave us business cards because this guy was already a moron well behind us. And when he slammed into us, I had all the energy of me to pull over on the side of the highway. Called 911 because he then approached the window and started to peacock and wanted to fight because he figured that something else was going on. And when he saw that there was 3 individuals instead of just some lonely old person that he was going to be able to bully, he went back to his truck.
So this guy rear-ended you, then he wanted to come fight you.
Then he wanted to come fight. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, man, why do I miss these moments in my life?
Yeah. Well, I had 2 other people.
Talking about.
I had 2 other people in my truck as well, and one of them, well, they both got to witness me having a complete blackout because I went into rage where I was going to either pull the steering wheel off the truck itself because this guy was ready to go outside and talk like a big boy.
Yeah.
Ambulance had to be called, and I had a full blackout. I had to be administered some sort of benzo of some kind that calmed me right down.
Something you're used to.
Yeah.
Oh, something that I wasn't used to. It knocked me right on my ass, to be honest.
I don't know. I've been in the hospital a long time.
Out of them. Same thing. But yeah,
There you
small.
go.
enough.
Sounds good. Did did the cops get this fucking guy or what?
Yeah, he didn't leave scene. His vehicle was undrivable. His little SUV went underneath my rear diff, ripped out the radiator and part of the motor as it was coming back out when he hit the brakes finally. So
now
he
your
was
truck's
also
fucked.
driving. The truck that we just raised like almost $2,000 to get fixed up and stuff in the shop, getting inspected to see even if it's roadworthy.
Do you have how are you getting the trailer down tomorrow? You get that all sorted out or what?
Yeah, so part of my insurance coverage, I was able to get a vehicle after a little bit of a fuck game today. One company didn't want to talk to the other company, and they didn't want to send emails because that's the other person's job and so forth. So I finally just showed up at Enterprise and said, "Here's my insurance claim number. Call them if you want money for it. I need a truck because I've got shit to do." So luckily I've got a truck, and it's gonna still take care of that. Go take care of some other things because I've always got other little taskings that I try and keep veterans busy in the area as well too. They want their hands busy. I've got yard work and shit to do.
Did you go to the doc and get your shit checked out? Like, what did they discharge you saying you're good? You got whiplash? Are you fucked up or what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely, man. They've got me on all sorts of painkillers, and they've got me on gabapentin and naproxen of all those anti-inflammatory pieces. No broken new injuries, which is great. But they reminded me that I have a couple broken ribs and a broken clavicle bone from a previous injury that didn't heal well. So that kind of reminded me why if I ever pick up and it hurts, the whole left side of me is beat up to shit. But otherwise, I'm sore, beat up. I gotta go and soak in a hot tub and shit like that every evening to make it feel better. But otherwise, it's the constant pain. So
heavy,
which sucks. Yeah. How was your guys' Monday?
Sounds like it was better than that. Sounds better than that. What did I do Monday?
Yeah.
I don't know. That was 2 days ago. Fuck if I know what I did.
Yeah.
Things like that don't happen to me.
Oh fuck! Sorry.
Oh, what? Because you don't leave your house?
Did you get rear-ended?
No. I said things like that don't happen to people like me. I remember a couple of weeks ago when there was like a live shooter in North Edmonton, and my folks called me and they're like, "Is it close to your neighborhood?" I'm like, "No." I was like, things like that don't happen to people like me. I was like, because people like me, are sitting at home like wishing a motherfucker would.
Oh fuck yeah,
no
man! I know, right? That's the wrong thing to say and wrong message to you viewers and listeners out there. But yeah, it's like, fuck, man, don't come to my neighborhood.
Yeah.
I don't call 911.
No, exactly, because I'm not calling 911.
No. I put signs up like when everybody was getting crazy during COVID. There was like some hoodlum crazy fuckers broke into my neighbor's house, but I had signs up and they were very polite. They said, prior to your next move, I want you to think about, that nothing in here is worth fucking dying for. Infer what you will out of that. Respectfully, a Canadian veteran. I put one on the window of my truck and I put one on the front and back door of my house. And it's just like, I'm providing you a very much multi-tiered, clear, obvious defense to my home. It starts with lights. It starts with signs. It starts with audible and visual warnings. Do not fuck with me. And anyway, we should probably stop before the cops bang on our door tomorrow. So as long as you're okay, man. Keep getting checked out. Call some ambulance.
Translation. Yeah. Translation. Fuck around and find out.
Find out.
Yeah.
I'm good with that, man. I don't believe in defunding the cops. Some people need cops. Some people
might.
Some people do. We can move on.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, oh man, Ukraine. All right. A lot of fucking shit going on. Morgan,
I've actually missed all of it.
I got to defer to Morgan. We have like no one watching unless the chat thing's fucked. So that's great. The people do listen later. So do you still think there's an A team coming? Is he there? Is he frozen? He's frozen up. Morgan, you got to jump out and jump in.
Yeah.
Oh, here comes the Ryan.
I do. I like I said, it's
You fuck off, man. You got to compete, man. You're like
frozen
fucking
for me.
No, it's your shitty.
Okay,
you got a
hang on.
junk connection.
1 second.
Jump out and jump in. Anyway, I'm glad Morgan's frozen because for those of you who've watched the previous episodes of this show, Morgan is convinced that there's this fucking magical unicorn fucking rainbow dolphin fucking brigade coming in to save that they're going to save the fucking day. So we're going to get into that as soon as he defucks his internet.
Oh, the 8. He's got to come. I actually don't pay attention to most of that. It doesn't affect my world, which is a horrible first world problem, but
yeah,
at the same time, fill me in. What's gone on in the last little bit? I usually catch in what
we're gonna talk about conscription armies.
Okay. I have seen a couple of those videos flying across the Dean Blundell network.
Yeah, you gotta I take all media, like I said, with a grain of salt, right? I don't fucking trust anything from any single source media. If you're involved in any level of intelligence, military intelligence, I think he's coming back in, then you know that you need tiered levels of information in order to build a picture of what the fuck is going on, right? So I'm not trusting what CNN says or BBC World News. I'll look at what Al Jazeera says. I'll look at fucking Reuters, all the different news sources to try to get a better picture, like a montage, if you will, of what's really happening. And then we've through Dean's. If you guys haven't watched Dean Blundell, he's on weekdays from 3 o'clock to 4 Mountain Standard Time, or I want to say 1 p.m. And he's got a local on named Alex, and I always struggle with Alex's last names. Day Rebekov. That's my man, Alex. He's a solid dude. So he's actually on the ground. And he spins a little more of a different picture as to what's going on versus what we get. So there's often a lot of similarities, but there's often a lot of variance. And through what we get out of Alex and what we read in the news, you can kind of fill in the blanks. Oh, it looks like he might be back. Fucking pay your internet bill. I gave you an extender too, man. I'm just going to go over there and fix it for you. So anyway, you think there's an 18 coming?
It's also a great comment from Ryan Perry in the comments. He's watching live off YouTube. He brings in the Belarus aspect of things. What about the counteroffensive on 2 fronts?
I don't know if they got the stones, man.
So
it's great to have friends.
Here's my opinion. There's a couple of.
All right, I want to hear you. You're up first on this.
Things. Like I said, don't like we always say, estimate your enemy. But at the same time, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that the Russian bear is the be all and end all. Don't overestimate your enemy.
Yeah, that's fair. He's dead again. I don't know what's going on with you. Pay your internet bill.
Nuclear threats and things like that.
Nuclear. You're broken, Morgan.
That's a great screenshot, though.
It is a great screenshot. just waving goodbye. I can
see
ya. Ryan's comment. What about the offensive that Belarus is going to kick off? Could they be conducting a counteroffensive on 2 fronts? I don't know, man. I got to dig into that, Ryan. I honestly haven't read up on it, but I would think that if Belarus was smart, which they clearly are not, they would probably start looking at what's going on with a different lens, and start distancing distancing themselves from the big fucking red machine who's not doing very well.
And yeah, everything in collecting on the Russian side of things, it's conscription and so forth, man. There is no A team like everybody's alluding to.
Yeah, well, we'll park the A team shit for now. What I do want to talk about is I had this illusion. I don't know where he is. This is fucked up. Sorry for you guys listening to this later. We're struggling with Morgan's fucking dial-up internet. He's still got a fucking plan from 1997. Yeah, so I thought that the Russian, when he said he was calling up reserves, my opinion, or what I thought, was that he was calling up like what we think reserves are, like a trained part-time army that's actually equipped and is qualified to do shit, or like the U.S. Army reserves or the British Territorial Army. That's actually not what it is. They had that allegedly, and I'm paraphrasing based on what I pieced together. They don't have that anymore. So when he said he was calling up 300,000 reserves, what he meant was he was pulling all these fucking guys off the street, basically civvies, that were, males between the age of fucking 18 and whatever, that were, what we refer to in Afghanistan as fighting age males.
Specific fighting age males, yeah, 18 to 25, 18 to 45.
Yeah, and so that's what he's doing. Is he's it's conscription. It's not a reserve army in the sense that we know it.
No. Hey, Chris, did you hear what I said earlier? I think I got things sorted
out. No,
you
get a chance. You get a do over here, buddy. So I think you got 2 green bars. You're clear hot.
Okay. So what I was saying is that like I said, we're gonna park the whole A team thing. Like whether that happens or not is I don't know. I still have my my doubts that that the Ukrainians are just gonna fucking push through because they're third world, and I don't think they're as good as people think they are. And like I said, I think this is classic. When you're strong appear weak, when you're weak appear strong. I mean, with the threats of using tactical nukes on the battlefield, and I wouldn't put it past Mr. Putin and the Russians to do it, because the reason I wouldn't put it past them is because
we're going to talk about that.
The same thing, Russian Missile Crisis, 1959. We were the West. We were losing our marbles because the Soviets had missile bases in Cuba, right?
Yeah.
Now, fast forward, 70 years later, here we are. The Russians don't like the fact that NATO's on their doorstep, and they're pissed, just like we were in 1959. So Mr. Putin could walk in there. He could use tactical nukes. He could leave Ukraine in absolute ruins, totally effed, totally fucked. And he could still go back to Russia and convince his people that say, you know what? We destroyed it and it's in ruins, but that's still better than the alternative. Right? And I think the Russians would buy it.
Okay.
Moreover, as a NATO country, as members of NATO, when we look at winning and losing, what is winning? I mean, moreover, how can we as NATO, you can't win against somebody you can't say no to. And what I'm saying is, like I said, we have sold our soul to Russia for oil and gas. All Mr. Putin needs to do is, in the middle of January, first cold snap, hit the switch, and guess what? Those people in Western Europe, in Belgium, in France, and in Germany are going to have a long, cold winter. And I know people are thinking, we have enough natural gas in Canada to supply the whole world, which is correct. However, once again, our own government, which is absolutely brilliant, I'm going to refer to our current federal government as an orgy because everybody's getting fucked.
Stay on target. Stay on target.
Stay on target, yeah. Is that
he's not going to
we have destroyed our own infrastructure and our deep water ports in order to pull that natural gas out of the ground, get it to Tidewater, and get it to countries that need it. So
he's not going to use nuke.
I've talked to some people in the oil and gas industry, and they're because of infrastructure and things like that, they're saying even if we wanted to heat, even though we have the amount of natural gas, to heat Western Europe, it would take us 3 to 7 years to get it out of the ground and over there. So it's not a possibility. So like I said, to recap, how can we win? How can we as a NATO country say no, to somebody that we cannot say no to Mr. Putin? How do we do it?
He's not going to use nukes. I'm not getting into this economic shit and political shit because I don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying. Here's why he's not going to use nukes, because there's no evidence to show that he's going to use nukes. Prior to using nuclear weapons, for those of you watching or listening, there's a bunch of shit that needs to happen. It's not like you just fire them in. And we're talking about tactical level nukes, not fucking strategic level intercontinental ballistic missiles like we were all scared of in the 80s. What we're talking about is short range, low yield nuclear weapons. But in order to use those, first of all, what are you shooting at? The areas that they're advancing into? That's the same area that they allegedly annexed, and that the people in those countries are apparently pro-Russia. So what you're saying is you're going to fire nuclear weapons at your own fucking people? I can't see that. So where are you firing these weapons? Number two, you need to equip your soldiers to seize and hold that ground in an NBCW environment. NBCW, for the non-versed, is nuclear, biological, chemical weapons. So they need to be equipped vehicle-wise with NBCW kits. They need the guys need the proper PPE, which is personal protective equipment, in order to go into that environment. Blah blah blah. There's no fucking evidence to show that they are posturing to do that. Put this in layman's terms for everybody. If it's 4th of July in the States, Canada Day up here, whatever your day is, and you're getting all fucking shit-faced and you got a bunch of fireworks, before you set them off, what happens? Everybody backs up, gathers around, forms a little ring. Buddy goes out, lights it off, boom, pop, pop, pop. You have a beer. There's no evidence that that's happening. So I call bullshit on the use of nuclear weapons right now, and I pray to God I'm right, because the world will change. If you thought 9/11 was a fucking game changer, the minute they fire one nuclear weapon inside of Europe proper, the world changed. The world will fucking change.
Yeah.
Moving on. Conscript armies. So while you were sorting out your internet, Morgan, we were talking about my perception previous to today, or a month ago, was that the Russians had a legitimate reserve army similar to us, the States, the Brits, us, whoever, right? Feels like they don't, and this is a pure conscription thing, right? Considering, if you can trust the media that we're seeing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, okay, before I get into, I got a couple fucking comedic slides I'm going to put up here in a second.
Yeah.
But let's talk about, I want your guys' opinion on the effectiveness. I'll go last, as I normally do, of what a conscription military looks like. So let's start on the fucking left, which means Bryce. What do you think, man?
Well, you know what? From the videos that I've seen surfacing from the Russian side of things with the conscription military that's in there, it's uniformed people that are just being put in front and put in positions for cannon fodder. It just has to be there. There has to be a 1, 2, 3 in that specific vehicle, and they're going to have a 1, 2, 3 into that vehicle. It's going to be scary because there's like what they're finding. What I've been seeing is a little bit of alcohol is being found because these soldiers are bored, and then they're being found passed out. They find beds, they find more alcohol, they find local stuff to get into. What's it going to lead to?
Morgan.
I mean,
what do you think, man? What do you think?
Like, but I guess like our idea, like, there's different types of conscript armies. When you think of like, a conscript army like the Russians in World War II, like you said, put this uniform on, here's a rifle for you, here's 8 rounds of 7.62 54-hour for you, advanced. There's those types of conscripts, and then there are like, you've got the Germans that have had a conscript army, like Israel has had a conscript army that's actually been quite successful. So
there you go, Ryan.
You know what I mean? It all depends on how you want to look at what a conscript army is. A conscript army could be very, very trained, like very highly trained soldiers because they're citizen soldiers. They believe in their country. They believe in what they're fighting for, and it's their duty to serve their country.
Sure,
And then you have some bum off the street. So it depends on how you want to look at it. And I think for the Russians, I think it might be somewhere in between. I don't think it's like these. I don't think it's quite like Israel, where it's like it's your calling to serve your nation. But I think it's a little bit above, like some homeless guy off the street, right?
Yeah, I mean, the next 3 slides are going to show are pure entertainment value, and they're purely from a single source, CNN, who I do not trust, but it is based on video, and the captions are interpreted. And again, take it with a grain of salt. So, because I have a personal opinion, and it's merely an opinion, it's not based on fact, but there's some, I think I have some substantial, factual, historical understanding of what's going on over there to maybe support my decision. So here's the first one. And again, I don't know how to record video. Okay. I'm too fucking stupid. I'll figure it out. I was going to play the whole video, but anyway, this is like a bunch of fucking recruits, if you will, coming in to get their kit, and it says appears to show a Russian officer telling Putin's recruits to use tampons for treating bullet wounds. Well, fuck, I guess you could if you don't have quick clot. Jam the old Tampax in there, and like it would probably work.
Isn't that stuff illegal now too?
No, they have a new version of it.
Yeah, there's a new. They don't use quick clot. They use a new thing which is called combat gauze.
Yeah,
so
but it's a tampon would probably work. I won't lie.
Yeah,
but it's come down to that.
Yeah, the new combat gauze is like a cross between quick clot and a tampon. Actually, come to think of it,
it probably is. It probably expands and does it. Quick clot. So quick clot is some shit we got issued in Afghanistan. And it's this granular, weird stuff, and you're supposed to jam it into a serious wound, and it's like a super cauterizer. This is what it does. For those of you watching or listening, that's what it does. We don't have that shit anymore. There's something new. So the second clip I took, Putin recruit on social media, we were officially told there would be no training before being sent to the combat zone. Now I want to touch on this for a second. Where the fuck did he go? Man, he's got internet issues today. The bulk of the media is saying that they're going to get these conscripts are going to get 2 weeks training and then sent directly to the front line. Like, fuck, man, you're going to take people unwilling, these fucking little Russian versions of millennials, who are not willing, or so I'm told, and give them 2 weeks training, under-equipped or no equipment at all. If that holds true, send them to the front line, and you're expecting some kind of tangible, positive result in your kinetic, tangible fucking you got to be fucking kidding me, man. Assuming that side of that lens is correct, right?
100%. Yeah.
There is no way in my mind you're gonna fucking take unwilling, untrained guys, put them through 2 weeks of even a basic reserve course. In Canada's longer than that. That's not even including trades training. Like, it takes 2 weeks to teach a guy how to use a fucking weapon, let alone how to use comms equipment, let alone first aid, let alone how to fire and move with his team. There's no scenario on earth, none, in any army
just
in the
worried
world.
About they've got a couple of tampons in their pocket, and now they've got a rifle on the other shoulder, and off they go. Clean pair of boots, new uniform.
Yeah, it's fucking preposterous. So for anybody out there that thinks that 2 weeks of training for an unwilling civilian being sent directly into combat is going to be effective, when their mainstream army, let's say it's the B team and Morgan's fucking conspiracy is correct, that there's this magical unicorn brigade in the fucking rear waiting to come in, but he's still got some quick clot. Fuck, I don't know.
No, it's the new stuff.
It's the good shit. Hey, hook me up. I need some of that.
Ryan, Ryan in the comments, he he'd have to know how it felt. He was in Afghanistan and had to use it himself.
Quick clot or combat gauze? Ryan, what did you use?
Quick clot.
Oh, quick clot sucks, but I've never seen that shit.
It works. It sucks, but it works.
It also getting shot sucks worse. So carry on.
It's true.
Anyway, getting blown up sucks. Getting shot sucks. Fucking blah blah blah. I just can't see it. So the last humorous image I'll show you guys. It was the same video clip. Russian officer to recruits. If you have hernias, plates in your head, you're fit to fight. So stop saying you can't. So, okay,
the grammar in that though is ridiculous. Nope. Someone at CNN should put a fucking grammar ops in that.
You got to watch the whole video. I didn't know how to capture it. I wasn't going to bore people. You can fucking Google this shit, whatever. But basically, they're taking what we would call the sick, lame, and lazy, and throwing them in the breach.
Yeah,
I'm not going to get. We're going to talk about the mass exoduses and the borders at Denmark or wherever the fuck these guys are trying to get to, fucking Mongolia and shit. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about what they are bringing in, and these guys allegedly, from what I'm seeing, and I've read as many different news sources as I can, are fucking junk. They're unwilling millennial Russians, civilian kids, being forced into a conflict they don't want to be in. They're not trained. They're under-equipped. 2 weeks of training is a fucking joke. We can all agree to that. Yeah. And if that is his Hail Mary short of the nuclear option, he is fucked. Short of the Unicorn Brigade that Morgan
Chris, I'm confused right now. Are you talking about Putin and the Russians, or are you talking about our CDS, General Wayne here, and the Canadian Armed Forces? I'm confused.
I knew it was coming, man.
Wait,
I'm confused.
What?
You're talking about like millennials that don't want to work and want to have funny colored hair, engaged ears.
No, it's okay. You can have. Wait, though. Yeah, but it's okay though. Canadian Forces. Look at it. You can have spaced ears. You can have purple hair. You boot color. You don't have to have boot bands. That's now completely passed nationally. And isn't the new dress code coming out where you can have any kind of dress, mixed dress?
I agree with this viewer Adam.
Male,
100%.
female.
Yeah, well, we're not talking about that, but I knew you were going to sneak that in because there are little parallels. You know, how can we get people? Fucking Canadian Forces recruiting is in the shitter right now.
Hey, you can smoke the cannabis if you want to get in the forces.
Just do whatever you want. Just please join. I'm like, that's not quite the way
to join. Yeah. But don't talk to veterans. Suck.
Yeah. So we probably shouldn't make fun of Russian conscripts too badly right now. I'm just saying, you know, like pot kettle black now. Over.
No, I get it, but we're not sending people to fucking fight in a fucking war down the road, are we?
No, because even if we wanted to, we couldn't. Because we're pussies.
Yeah, we've got none.
Listen, buddy, you still have a uniform hanging in your closet. You might not be wearing it. You're supposed to be an ambassador.
I haven't worn it since November 11th, 2021.
We're coming up on your 1 year. We're coming up on Morgan's 1 year. Yeah, go home. We'll call you later.
Yeah, on my 1 year anniversary, I'll take all my uniforms, put them in a burn barrel, and we can all have a good time.
Yeah,
that should be a joint.
Anyway,
podcast for sure.
We're going to monitor the situation closely. I do want to get into all these this mass exodus, but right now, to me, it's like this concept of this conscript army is going to fucking fail and blow up in his face. So if he wants to be successful, he better have a unicorn brigade, as Morgan alludes to, and he also better have, if he's seriously going to fucking think about the nuclear option, which I just can't see, and I hope I'm correct, it's going to be a world fucking game changer. So,
however, Chris, just a point to note from a historical standpoint, right? If you look at, say, Stalingrad, 1942, the Germans were a much more highly trained military. I mean, man, the Wehrmacht were world class. They pretty much conquered. I mean, I'm not advocating that like the Nazis were were, I agree with them, but they had some highly motivated soldiers, and they conquered all of Europe in like 15, 20 minutes. Everybody in Eastern Europe and Western Europe pretty much rolled over, except for the
They
Brits.
did. You're not
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah, and however, when and we've all seen like that movie Enemy at the Gates, where none of those Russians wanted to fight, and there's like, here's a rifle for you and here's 8 rounds for you. When the first guy dies, you pick up the rifle and carry, and nobody wanted to do it. But the one thing the Russians have, they do have numbers, and they do have some political willpower, and they can kind of make shit happen, as unethical as it is. Like
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
You can't count. I mean, we can call them scumbags, but you can't count them out.
First of all, I love that the sniper goes right to a sniper movie as the analogy, which is great.
Absolutely.
They have numbers. They have massive amounts of unwilling participants.
So, however, you know what, Chris?
Hang on. They have no equip. They under-equipped because the first B team, if you will, or A team, is fucked for equipment. There's no way those guys are kitted out.
No.
Like, fuck. Tell me how this is how they're gonna pull success out of this. Maybe they will. I don't know. I can't see it.
So I'll go back because you just said about most people are not motivated, and the snipers going to the sniper movie, and I'll agree with everything you kind of said. So Second World War. Okay. Although I'll say 9. Let's assume that 9 out of 10 Russians are not motivated. That means, but 1 out of 10 is, and I think that's a perfect example of Stalingrad 42, Enemy at the Gates. They took those 1 out of 10, Russians, and they gave them a scoped rifle. Do you know that in the Second World War, Russia fielded more scoped rifles, sniper rifles, than every other military in the war combined on both sides, right? They made sniper brigades, and if there's one thing a sniper is good at doing, is demoralizing the enemy. When you have no idea what the hell is going on, and the thing is, if you got 1 in 10, but you got 9 for cannon fodder, you can't count those people out.
Are you ready though?
We should do a whole fucking pod on the history of snipers and the combat effectiveness. We should. We will.
Yeah, but let's put this in perspective.
Sorry for everybody watching and listening that we're in the planning fucking phase for a future pod. But right now, let's stay on target. But I do want to talk about that.
Go
ahead, Bryce.
It was Hitler, right? It was Hitler. In First World War. Does anybody know?
He was a corporal.
Was he a trucker though?
No, I believe he was in the infantry, but he was a corporal.
I'm almost certain he was like an EME. I think he was EME branch, to be honest, or he was a truck driver. But that's all it took.
How we segue to these conversations, but keep going.
Yeah. Oh yeah, actually, you know what, Bryce? You know, Bryce?
What?
Hitler was definitely a trucker. you guys can have him.
Nobody wants him. Yeah. But that's all it was that ran it at the time, right? You don't need snipers. You just needed one good
quality fucking programming here right now. Okay, we beat that shit to death. We're gonna move on.
Truck.
One good trucker is all you need, and suddenly, the world hates you.
Yeah.
Good news stories coming out of the Ukraine. A good friend of mine named Jody. She's ex-military. She later became a member of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, met her husband, also a member of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and they are both retired since. And they are currently fostering or hosting a family from the Ukraine who the husband's still fighting on the front line. I'm going to try to do a screen share here. Bear with my technical fucking ineptitude. How do we do this again? Oh, yeah.
I don't know. You won't share your board, so nobody knows.
Yeah, fucking beat it. Okay, here we go. She's got it called. Can you guys see that?
Escape and rebuilding after the war.
Escape and rebuilding after the war. I'm not going to read the whole thing. There's a link down below. She's got the mother and the kids there, and they've raised over half of the amount they're looking for. Dad's on the front line fighting, and there's a whole narrative. I'm not going to read it out, but I tip my hat to anybody on either any side supporting any family, who's comes from a fucking war zone and has had to flee absolutely unnecessary bloodshed and fighting, and then leave their loved one behind. So the link's down below. I'll have the link in there for people listening in Spotify or iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts to read this amazing story. And they're hosting this family in BC in their own home. Kids are going to school. Mom's learning English. She's got a job. It's a fucking cool story. So, what else to say? Check it out. If you feel like donating, donate. But it's always impressive when people are doing their part. We know guys who have reached out or who have volunteered to go over and fight or support it in some ways. It's cool to see a story like this where people back home are trying to help people in need. And I don't give a fuck which side of this war you're on. If you're on the Russian side, you're fucked. But anyway, that's my opinion. I know everybody's got an opinion. So yeah, please check it out. The GoFundMe link's below. And that's a good story to segue into the last bit here. Thanksgiving weekend's coming up. What's going on? What are you guys doing? What do you have to be thankful for? What are you going to do this weekend?
I am taking the weekend and I'm going to rest in your coop. I am going to put my feet up somewhere, rest my back and my neck because I am absolutely incredibly in a lot of pain. So I'm just thankful.
You're not going out tomorrow night, are you?
Yeah, absolutely. I won't be doing as much lifting and so forth. There's going to be a lot more volunteers that'll be pulling weight, loading the trailer with me and so on. But yeah, if I don't go, then the trailer doesn't go. And then if the trailer doesn't go, it'll be a shit show. Not saying that everything leans on me, but it makes it a little bit easier when I'm there. All
right. Well, we'll talk offline. Yeah. Morgan, what do you got going on?
I mean, other than like the pain and suffering and having just been rear-ended. I mean, like Bryce, I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be spending the weekend with my children and some extended family. Yeah, things like that. Only thing I'll say, kind of to springboard off of kind of like last week's podcast and what Bryce just said. I don't know if you know it was in. I don't know if it was the Globe and Mail or if it was in the Edmonton Journal. One like mainstream media newspaper. Apparently, whether it's provincial or federal government, they are going to be investing, more money into aiding the unhoused. I don't know if you've seen that article, Bryce, but now
I'd really like to see the breakdown.
I know you're cynical, Bryce, and so am I. Exactly, like people talk a big game, but the fact that it was just interesting. It was like right after our podcast. I know that our podcast didn't influence.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice to influence on such levels, right? Yeah.
That would be crazy. That would be interesting. But I'm just saying that it was interesting that we talked about it here on Fire for Effect, and a week later we've got like a large scale mainstream media newspaper are saying, hey, we are going to put more money in to help the unhoused. So I was actually thinking about you, Bryce, and everything you guys do, Water Warriors, and and especially coming up on Thanksgiving, and hopefully this doesn't get burned up into bureaucracy and it actually gets down to your guys' level. I'm
very cynical.
I
see it the same.
Yeah, but we can give thanks that at least at a political level, somebody somewhere noticed, and hopefully it can get down to the level, it can get to the people that it needs. Like yourself, Bryce, like people at Water Warriors, and one of these days, I just gotta figure out my schedule here, Bryce, and on Thursday night, I'm coming out with you. And I
gotta nut the fuck up more.
You know what, though, Bryce? I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna be a real infantryman about this. I might not come out in the next couple of months. I'm gonna wait till January when it's like really, really shitty and cold.
Nah,
that's when I'm coming out.
Don't wait, because we need volunteers all the time, and I've had retired CSOR members come out as well, and they love certain positions. 100%.
What I'm saying is, like I'm sure like some people volunteer a little bit less when it's super shitty and cold out.
Yeah.
When it's super shitty and cold out, this guy thrives.
You know what? We did have another combat engineer. The only time that he ever did come out, and most of the time he was taking his shirt off. Matt Blanco. He was a rock star last winter. -40, -25. He'd be out there with giving the shirt off his back, giving a sweater to the guys who needed it. Just
awesome.
like half of the volunteers
That's
that
awesome.
are out here. So
that's awesome,
100%, man. Yeah,
that's fucking good. That's some good news stories, and I hope obviously your charge this weekend is to kind of try to set people up for this kind of weekend. Like, fuck, man, what am I thankful for? I'm thankful to have a roof over my head. I'm thankful to have all my fucking arms. I'm thankful to have half my sanity anyway.
yeah.
I do 2 dinners a year. One is Christmas Eve. One is the Saturday on Thanksgiving. I call it my Wayward Souls dinner. And it might not be the right name. It's basically for anybody in my sphere of influence that has no place to go. Like, they don't have any family, or they don't get along with their family, or they're far from their family. Like, they're all, mostly ex-military people and shit. But you got nowhere to go, you can always come here. Right?
Cool.
I don't like seeing people alone. So full respect to what I know Water Warriors is going to do tomorrow night. What I know the Veterans Association Foodbank is going to do. I think when's the next drive is coming up? It's got to be like now.
They just did a donation drop off on October 1st, last Saturday.
Okay. So groups like that or taking care of our veteran community in times like these, when those people have nobody else to fucking help them out.
Oh yeah. Stay tuned. I've got a partnership with Homes for Heroes and Above Your Service. We're going to be doing an alternative remembrance this year on site at Homes for Heroes.
Above Your Service, there's going to be, Bryce is going to get his own pod, man. He's got a lot of content. We just got to fucking produce and package it. It is coming.
Just line it. It's coming.
Coming to a YouTube channel near you.
And he's like away. Like, I mean, like I'm saying, I'm going to come out and help you. And Chris says the same thing.
Yeah,
what you need to do to help me and Chris is you need to take the classic Army approach, and you need to shame both of us publicly
100%.
when we don't.
100%.
And when we don't, you can be like, hey, every week in this podcast, you're like, still haven't been out yet,
and
fellas.
you guys didn't show up. No, that's fine.
Show up.
I wish I could really drop
deal.
the last
shit.
veteran.
Just keep talking shit. Just say that. Like, shame the fuck out of me.
Because me and Chris can't come back from this shame and humiliation.
Yeah.
We need to come out.
No. And Morgan's fucking 100% correct. I need to be guilted into coming down.
Yeah.
You know what we should do is start a pot of some kind, not going back to the cannabis stuff, but a pot where every time you guys miss it, you guys have to approach your communities and fund the next street team. Anywhere from $400 to $800 a week kind of goes out. So if you miss one, or if you can't send someone to be there in your presence, start doing bottle drives. What do you think?
Like a swear jar. Like, every time I say I'm going to do someone else, every time I say I'm going to do something, I throw $20 in.
I know. It's a lot of money. We've got some amazing donators right now, and some corporate level donators, but we do need a lot of help, especially heading into the wintertime. We've got a lot of close the doors at our storage facility. We've got extra winter stuff coming in, but we still go water bottles a week, more that in, and when a case of or a bottle of water there's like 12 bottles to a case.
Yeah.
And each case holds X amount. It does add up after a while. If you want to donate, I've got people that donate, found us on our podcast. I've got an amazing veteran couple out of Alberta that donates $100 to $200 weekly, if not monthly, sometimes, for our sandwich crew and our replacements for our wagons and so forth. So heading into the winter months, if even if you can't make it and you want to help out, check us at Warriors YEG or Above Your Service, and Above Your Service at gmail.com for information.
There you go, man. I'll start playing.
Thank you very much.
All
Well
right,
done.
boys, it's been a good one. We're gonna wrap this shit up a bit. I'm trying to cover a bunch of back end stuff, and thank you for everybody that's tuned in tonight. Ryan, thanks for jumping in, buddy, and
Yep.
for everybody listening. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. Everybody have a good Thanksgiving. I want to I'll punch you guys out here. Big shout out to my sponsors. DeanBlundell.com. You can check out my pod and many others on DeanBlundell.com. And you should check out Dean's show. And again, it's kind of mid-afternoon for us out west, but it's a good show. It's got all kinds of current event news, very funny shit. Check out his network. There's a fucking ton of podcasts on there. Check that out. Positive Mike's Brewing Company, my main Positive Mike. You can only get the gear. I get the beer, and I have the gear. Bryce Hooper, Mr. Hooper Inc. Again, if you're looking for alternative sources from conventional medicine, talk to Bryce, and he's also got Above Your Service to help you out. And last but not least, the good folks at Lakeside Farmstead, Jeff None and his family, the only place in Alberta you can get legit Wagyu cross beef and amazing dairy products. Now, what I've been remiss at doing is plugging my own shit. So if you go to, I'm going to share a screen again. There's a link down below. I'm going to click the tab button. You got to bear with me here. I don't have a producer, guys. I'm doing this on my own, so be patient. I have a merch page, okay? And on that merch page, you can get Fire for Effect gear, ball hats, men's and women's t-shirts, hoodies, and these dope beer mugs, coffee mugs. You can put beer in them too. I'm not making any money off this, okay? The link's down below. Every fucking penny above and beyond operating costs goes to the Veterans Association Foodbank. I do not make any money, okay? I don't need any money from that shit. There's other people that need that money. So buy a hoodie, buy a ball hat, buy a shirt, buy a coffee mug. It's cool. It's got this logo. It's actually even better than what I'm wearing because it's got this, like, you can't really see it there, but there's this kind of like a glow effect, shadow effect. I designed it. Check it out. Anyway, enough flogging that shit. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll do this shit again next week. Happy Thanksgiving for those of you in Canada. I know American Thanksgiving's not till 24 November, and we'll do something special for that too. Yeah, I'm out. Have a good one.